Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You know what? I actually said before this to the team, let's give them 5 minutes to fill the space out. But I can't let you like sit here in silence on a day like today. Such big news announcements coming out left, right, and center, and lots of questions, of course. DeFi on Ronin. That is one of the focuses today. But of course, more questions will be answered. If you guys would like to participate in the show today, I want to make a huge emphasis on the Ronin Network's official Discord. So if you head over there, there is actually a new chat in the Discord server called DeFi Chat. There will be a lot of conversation going down in there during today's show. And if you would like to participate, maybe ask any questions, we'll keep an eye respond and you're not a talker, you can type, bro. That's what Discord is there for. But yeah, like I said, lots of really amazing guests on our space today. And again, the questions will be answered. So I'm going to start bringing everybody through. And what a time to be alive, man. We were saying, is anybody here at the start of the week? And now I feel like you guys are coming back. You're coming back. You're on your way back over here. And also just personally for me, I think everybody's wrong. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I think everybody that left, they're wrong. Either way, we're not going to get too deep into that. I'm going to introduce our speakers. Of course, you guys know who's in the building. It's myself, Gila. Just me. No, it's hello. Hi, my name's Gila. I've been in Ronin for a long time now. Of course, this Ronin Radio, we've been moving for 2 years. And this is one of the reasons why we exist, to bring you guys information, particularly on topics and announcements that you may not grasp totally right from the offset. Of course, my co-hosts are with me, good friends Stark and 1437, as you may formerly know him. Mr. Theban Silva is in the building. And of course, on the panel list today, none other than G-Host, one of the smartest minds in Ronin as well, Owl. Bailey will also be in the building, one of the head of ecosystems in Sky Mavis. And we have in the open Ronin, a new partner to join the fleet as we sail onwards in Alpha Growth. So we'll be talking with the Alpha Growth team, and they'll be able to share their vision on DeFi on Ronin too. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Let's start with G-Host, bro. Let's get the energy in the building. My energy's up. I'm up. Let's see. Let's keep them there. And this is going to be a good show today. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out. And this is going to be a valuable conversation. I really believe that.
Yo, what up? Good morning.
Yeah.
G motherfucking M. Just woke up. I'm here. I'm ready. I see that we got Owl in the building. I see that we got Alpha Growth here. I see that Compound Growth is also a speaker. I see Bailey. I think bring Bailey up to the stage too, right?
Bailey got the invite. He
Okay.
needs to take my hand. You take my hand, bro.
Right. I see we got Stark. Dude, Stark has the cleanest wrong game on it, man. That is
it's
like
kind of
so
crazy.
fucking crazy. Okay.
Yo, G-Host, quick question. This is way off like tangents, but like we saw the Ronki clip in Axie MMO, right? I'm praying to whoever needs to hear these prayers. Will the Ronki's individualism be implemented into the MMO? I'm not like straight away, of course. Like,
dude, this is way too specific of a question for me.
You gotta
talk. You guys know that I have a boss, right? So you gotta talk to my boss. You gotta talk to the big boss.
Wait, he calls you the boss, though. So who's the real boss?
Yeah, that was a flex, right? You're gonna have to talk to Jung about that one.
Facts. Bossception is happening here on Ronin Network. Anyway, man. Welcome to the space. Of course, we've got the man himself. Owl is in the building. Liquid Ron is here. We are about to go forwards, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I would like an explanation. I'm a Ronki, really and truly. Watching videos from people like Proof of Travis has helped me grasp some of the idea.
Oh, he's in here too. Get him up here. I would love to hear from him too.
Oh, is Travis in here too? Yeah, we'll get Travis up too. But yeah, Owl's in the building. Good to have you here. It's always a pleasure when we have conversations. I find extreme value in them. So thank you for being here as well, Owl. But yeah, just a quick intro on the mic for anybody that doesn't know you. I don't know. They must be new if they don't. But Owl of Moistness.
Hey everyone. Also woke up as well, 6 a.m. here, but the energy is I couldn't sleep. And yeah, Liquid Ron, Liquid Ron, it's here. DeFi, the first stepping stone, and there's more to come. You know, the alpha growth. I don't know what they do. I want to know more about them. Let's see how we can all work together, and let's see how Liquid One can go into this whole new ecosystem that we've been all waiting for. So I'll wait my turn to talk about this, but I'm so excited to be around. Thank you for this, and I can't wait to hear about all this news.
Totally. Yeah, man. 6 a.m. You're a warrior owl. We love that. Either it was an all-nighter or you really are just pumped for the day. Either way, we might find out later. Bailey is in the building again. Someone that is a silent hero, I would say, in the Ronin ecosystem and at Sky Mavis. You know, not in the limelight as such, but an important pillar in our ecosystem. Of course, head of the ecosystems, right? But no, it's Bailey in the building. Bailey, would you like to give us a quick intro on yourself and what we are doing here today?
Hey, Ronki. Good to be speaking on Ronin Radio and, of course, always listening in. Yeah, so I take care of the ecosystem, kind of planning out certain strategies on the back end, and then try to execute with all of our wonderful teammates here. So yeah, DeFi is kind of one of the ways to see growing Ronin. Of course, there's a lot of PMF and other chains, so excited to bring it onto Ronin.
Absolutely. Okay, we just got the last few people through. We have Jose from Alpha Growth here today. Of course, Ronin is up here on the speakers panel and Alpha Growth, the company, including Compound Grow. So Jose is going to be speaking on their behalf, but this is Jose, this is the first time meeting you. Lovely to meet you, my friend, and welcome to Ronin. Like Bailey said, and Al mentioned as well, really looking forward to what we can do together. If we could get a quick introduction of yourself, and then we can start firing off our main questions for the show today.
GM, Jose here from Alpha Growth, APAC BD lead, and also leading our efforts for the Ronin Growth program. It's my first time being on Ronin Radio and really hyped to be here.
Let's go.
Jose's an OG, right? Jose's been participating in XC for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Like I'm new to it.
I left my job.
That follow. Well, hey yo, I left McDonald's the other week because I said I ain't going back. Like this is the last time. So we're going to get to it today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you premise on today's show. Of course, if you weren't here in the first phases, I mentioned there is a brand new channel in the Ronin Network Discord. It is called DeFi Chat. We'll be monitoring that channel throughout today's show. So if you want to participate, maybe ask a few questions, they could get pulled from there, but also join the conversation. This is what we do here on Ronin. The community is king. And when we congregate and form coalition together, things happen. So begin something with DeFi today in the Ronin Network's DeFi chat. And yeah, man, well, I'd like to see you over there. Maybe you Ronkies can go over there and try and communicate in real words, and maybe not. Don't troll it though. I'm being dead serious. Like let's have some utility from it. But that is there, and we'll be monitoring it through today's show. Overall, today we're going to be looking at the vision, really Ronin's vision for DeFi. Of course, Bailey and G-Host here in representation of SM, so we can actually press and see what is the vision for DeFi here on Ronin. In my opinion, it's set out to be quite different to DeFi that we've seen in other ecosystems. Why is that? I believe it is true, and you guys know it as gamers and community members in Ronin. This is a place for gamers. But what does DeFi look like more specifically for gamers? We're going to get onto that topic. Also building these financial layers that enhance in-game economies. And how can we make DeFi more accessible, useful, and fun? Those are going to be some of the intro topics we go through. The current state of DeFi on Ronin we will address, and then we're going to introduce and talk more deeply about alpha growth and what we can do together here on Ronin. We'll talk about liquid run after that. And Owl can take the floor and mesmerize us with that beautiful brain of his. But like you said, let's start at the beginning. The vision for DeFi on Ronin. Now, I'd like to bring Bailey into this conversation here. In taking care of ecosystems, DeFi is a huge contributing factor to what is going on here on our network, and also one of the big attractive pieces for outside participants in Ethereum and then in the crypto industry at large, and those who are yet to come here. So what is the vision really for Ronin's DeFi, and how or why is that built so differently from other areas?
Yeah, it's a very broad question. We just kind of crystallized some of our thinking into a blog post. I recommend everyone to read it. I think just to summarize, so I think from the start, Ron was actually launched on Katana DEX. That's the first piece of DeFi, right? So people are not actually unfamiliar with DeFi, with permissionless swaps. And of course, I think people were also exposed to USDC, so stable coins, right? But then how do these stable coins actually how do they work, right? I think on a fundamental level, people want to get yield. So people want to save in USDC, and they also want to get some kind of interest rates on top of those USDCs. So I think these are probably the first phase of what we call DeFi and Ronin. Just bringing yield to these players and then getting them saving on Ronin, seamlessly accessing lending services. I think that's like the first phase. And then second phase is like kind of what we look at, kind of more fun trading activities like leverage trading, some of the perpetuals, and then of course the last layer is really about the gamified DeFi. So I think if you look at Lumiterra has this Lumi Finance Protocol. How do you bring some of these DeFi services, right, to service some of these virtual economies on Ronin's games? I think those are actually where Ronin starts to differentiate itself from many of the other ecosystems, right? So these are I guess coming out of that. I think other ecosystems you kind of see like Ouroboros of yield, where the yield is actually recycled, it's like stacked on, and then eventually where is it servicing? Right? It has to service like a real fundamental economy based on the consumption of goods. So in that case, I think DeFi and Ronin is a very perfect match where we have actually games, we have gamers who want to spend on virtual assets. I think that's really the core of the pieces for DeFi and Ronin.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting that you started out the way that you did, mentioning the DeFi that does exist in Ronin. And, for someone like myself, I've recognized that, when you're trying to actually use financial instruments, Ronin at heart from the beginning, from the offset, we've had Katana decks with liquidity pools, and that was an early phase learning for me, learning process, being in the industry, interacting with people who were participating in that, and finding out the reasoning for it. And really, when it comes to saving, like, there is nowhere in traditional markets that can match some of the APRs that you can actually accomplish here on Katana, and have been here for a very long time. And of course, that's one of the driving factors for participation in DeFi, and maybe it's overlooked. I'm not. I can't give that perspective because I've not overlooked it, and it's been one of the strongholds of me being here as well. Like, these things are already accessible, but really interesting to hear your side of the things, and where progressively, step by step or layer by layer, how this improves. Jihos, I'd like to hear again, maybe some reiteration on those thoughts. And shout out to Bailey, bro. I don't know if you are in like platform 9 3/4 going to Hogwarts, but
yeah, I'm in the airport,
in the space.
Actually.
Yes, let's
yeah,
go.
The announcers fighting with me.
But yeah, G-Host, I'll pass that question over to you about the vision of what is the vision for DeFi here on Ronin?
Well, first of all, I have always, I've seen from the beginning that I really believe that DeFi, NFTs, and gaming are the three core pillars of what's interesting when it comes to consumer adoption of Web3 technology. And without DeFi, there would be no Axie. There basically would not have been play to earn. Right, play to earn was enabled via the combination of the Axie protocol with Uniswap, right? It was only once Uniswap was deployed that we were able to see. And if you go back to the play to earn article, right, where I basically invented the term play to earn, if you go back to that article, play to earn is evolving or play to earn is here, you'll see that we're talking and specifically walking through our user base on how to basically use the Uniswap protocol. I met the founder of Uniswap and he knew who we were. Why? Because a lot of their initial user base were from the Axie community. Flash forward a little bit, and actually, in 2019, I used to give out loans to people, especially our whales. They would give me their Mystic Axies. I would give them ETH. Their loan value would be denominated in DAI, a stable coin, and they would then buy into projects like Rocket Pool, Synthetics, Compound, right? So our community, especially our early OGs, are very, very familiar with DeFi. And of course, right, as Bailey mentioned, Katana is a Uniswap, is basically a version of Uniswap that's native to Ronin, and that's basically right how we launched the Ronin token. I think it was one of the most innovative launches of all time. It was a very fair launch where basically right the only way to get Ron was via depositing AXS, ETH, SLP into the Katana protocol. So moving forward, I think that there's a lot of really interesting and unexplored design space for DeFi protocols to come to Ronin. And why is Ronin an attractive opportunity for them? Well, guess what? A lot of these DeFi protocols have been building for the same people for 5 years. They haven't really seen a new audience. And on Ronin, right, you have this audience that's very unique. They're gamers. Many of them are relatively new to crypto and haven't used DeFi protocols other than Katana. So to many DeFi developers and protocols, this is a really interesting audience and opportunity because right you want to get your protocol out there to a new audience, to new users, and that's what Ronin provides, right? So it's just like games come to Ronin to experience distribution advantage and to reach a new audience. So too will DeFi protocols start to see it in that way. We just need to show that, right? So that starts with some of the initial early experiments, right? So remember how once we had the Genkai launch on Ronin Market, people were like, wow, like, okay, NFT projects and different IPs can come to Ronin, right? Who did that attract? Right? That attracted Pixels, right? Once Pixels blew up, boom, that attracted a bunch of other games. So that's basically the mission, right? Is like make one of these DeFi protocols or apps experience a lot of growth, and that will basically create a light bulb moment in the minds of DeFi developers, and then there'll basically be this mass kind of migration and attention of DeFi protocols towards Ronin. You need to create a case study. So basically we're going to be kicking off with incentive campaign to catalyze some growth and show that the Ronin effect is not just something that can help games. It's something that can help any consumer application that's building for real people.
Yeah, 100%. It's that's super interesting as well about how we have a very unique environment, and it largely is people who are first time crypto users, gamers, and how that's like an environment in which many DeFi protocols can come in. And I think I'm going to take this stance. I think if education is kind of led, like you lead with education, and you have a positive effect on community members, they are going to be so likely to utilize your products after learning, oh, that's why you guys actually are successful. You have a good product and it does this, and you kind of elevate the user base or through your own project, right? And that, I believe, would lead to participation. We are in a gaming network, of course, and this leads me to the next question. I think actually a gamification of education around decentralized finance is something that could really be explored in this open Ronin network. But building a financial layer that enhances in-game economies was one of the topics that we wanted to address today. A lot of us learn our understanding of economy through things like MMOs back in the day. You know, I can reference a lot of big players or big participants in this industry who, you know, they seriously have been approaching life, you know, from their early experiences in these MMO games, right? And in-game economies are very interesting, and it's the perfect fit for this environment or this industry. I believe Ronin will be the heart of those environments or those economies, in-game economies, really seeing true success. Of course, at the pinnacle of that for me will be Axie, and we have many strong competitors and builders in this space already, you know, presenting product on that Forgotten Runiverse coming out very, very soon. Shout out to the Wizards. But building a financial layer that enhances in-game economies, how do we expect, you know, to approach this? What can we anticipate? Will we have DeFi products that actually plug in to games directly? Will there be in-game features that actually go through protocol that puts them into DeFi positions? Maybe there's liquidity pools in the economy, like in the game. Is that kind of what we are looking at potentially in the future of Ronin? I'm going to direct that question back at you, G host, because I know that's probably close to. I feel like you are the guy to answer that. And Bailey, if you are able to come up on here, please put your hand up as well, and we'll pass the mic over to you. But yeah, is this something that we are looking at as gamers on Ronin to have DeFi kind of rooted into game experiences and then in-game economies? If that wasn't clear, that one's for you, G host, my good mate.
Hey, sorry, I had to step away for a sec. Can you repeat the question?
Hey, yo, welcome to the Ronin Radio, ladies and gentlemen. We the building financial layers, right, in-game economies. I basically was setting a premise on, is this something that we will see? Is it likely to happen in our near to the long-term future of us having DeFi plugged into the games themselves, participating in then the in-game economies?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is an interesting thing. I think you will start to see it more, and it's been kind of like part of the dream where it's like, oh, like what if you actually had an exchange or like the grand exchange within the game, the auction house within the game is actually a DeFi protocol. And I think that, you know, especially with like basically advances in wallet technology, this is actually one of the things that things like what Waypoint theoretically enable is to basically plug these smart contracts directly into the game. The Eve Online team or the Eve Frontier team is also working on something called like smart assemblies or something like that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of like advancements, and this is kind of, you know, at the cutting edge. So yeah, you know, I would expect to see some experiments in that direction, but you know, I think like just having it, the, the integration right with for example, Axie and Katana was also like pretty tightly embedded, even though right, Katana wasn't necessarily directly available from within the actual game itself.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I thought that as I asked the question, actually, that there was this, you know, outside effect of DeFi actually being part of the game's economies themselves. But the deeper layer, I think, towards it, like, the future, we'll see in-game controls that will actually allow participation from within the game itself. I actually want to pass the mic over to some of our guests here, because I know what it's like. You join a space and you sit there, you listen. It may be valuable, it may be great, but let's join them into the conversation. Al, I wanted to know from your perspective, was there like education that happened for you in your gaming history, your gaming experiences? And also, what is your projection of the current state of DeFi in Ronin itself right now?
Yeah, no, there definitely was you know, teaching and some education when it comes to just gaming in general. If we go outside, even everything, let's just go outside of Web3 right now. Before all this happened, you know, 10 years ago, God, like 10 years ago, I joined communities just to play games on Discord, and they taught me everything on how to play the game. So education is core, and education is kind of like the bridge from you being a solo player, joining this new universe and making friends and, you know, enduring together this new adventure. So everywhere you go now into the Web3 world, when you join, there needs to be some sort of education to give you the exact reasons why things happen. You can be very smart, but just having confirmation from your peers on what's happening, it's super interesting and super powerful. And I'm at GDC right now, lots of energy. And just to quote one of the panels I went to that was managed by Hilmar. Hilmar is the CEO of Eve Online, one of the biggest communities out there. And he was saying essentially like he wanted to create a chaos world with Eve Online, but he created what he called a love machine because everyone stayed because they were friends. Eve Online players stayed for the friendship and the sorrow of losing things together, and also the winnings of killing people together. So essentially, you have all this education that is extremely important when you join a game. Now, when you talk about DeFi and Ronin as your second question, it's also very interesting because the way I currently see DeFi and Ronin is kind of like inexistent. And the reason why I say this is Katana it's just a common good. It's not really true. DeFi started with Uniswap, and that's how it started also on Ronin. But it's just one stepping stone. You don't say you have stairs. You have one step, right? So let's just go with this analogy. It is 100% needed for the future to make it work. But DeFi will truly happen once we have even more of those steps as we go forward. So Liquid Drawn, we'll talk about it later, is one more of those. It can be traded, of course, on Liquid Drawn, on Katana, but more things can happen to it, and those more things will be those next steps, which I will let Alpha Growth talk about. I don't want to spoil anything, and I just woke up, and I hope I don't want to spoil all of the things that are happening, of course.
No.
But that's
Sharp as attack, as they used to say about Joe Biden, but no, this is Owl actually sharp as attack. At 6 a.m. in the morning, bro. Congrats. Like, yeah, great answer. Actually, I really enjoyed that answer. And to find out that listening into the panel of someone like Eve Online, which, we look at as a leading example for in-game economies in this space, is great. Creating a love machine. It's true though, right? Like you create something, and I think the attachment and the ownership aspect that's in Web3, it emphasizes that as well, especially when you build together with people. Having done that for the last 4 years in this space, like I get it, bro. Like come into Web3 and you create things together and you create bonds, but you also like work on things together. You're just making babies. So come to Ronin and make babies, bro. Let's move it over, Jose, bro. Let's bring you into this conversation. Quick question that's kind of off the topic here, but we are Ronin, we are gamers. I'd like to know a little bit about yourself, Jose. Is there a game that sticks out to you that has taught you something that is still a factor in your walk of life today?
Absolutely. So I learned about economics all through games. Before I was in high school and took economics classes, before I picked up anything formal about business, I learned about economics solely through games. So I like to think about it in versions. So V1, the first thing that I saw was Pokemon trading. So nothing offline, nothing online, everything was offline, analog. And when you had the link cable, and now you could share your Pokemon world with your friend and trade Pokemon, and not even just trade Pokemon for other Pokemon, but you could trade like your strongest Pokemon to your friend for his lunch money for like a month, or get your friend's Pokemon in exchange for babysitting their younger brother. So that's the first time I learned how to like see value um, beyond the games and into real life. And V2, um, when MMOs came out, Ragnarok Online was huge in the Philippines. And I remember just watching my older cousins like forge these badass weapons and sell them for like hundreds of dollars online in the black markets, and it just blew my mind. Same thing happened with RuneScape. Same thing happened with World of Warcraft. Actually learned about financial markets, limit trading, price charts from the World of Warcraft auction house. And did a lot of trading there on Guild Wars. I mean, really, all the games that I've played online, they've all had strong in-game economies and communities. And yeah, to answer your question, all the games that have economies have stayed with me.
No, I mean it is crazy, but there's definitely a case there of like what Al was saying, the love machine, because in some of these Web 2 games, there is no benefit, right? Like for Web 3 and the last few years of experience, a lot of the time there is always that there is profit potential here, like the resellability, the secondary market basis that exists. In the past, though, that was not really accessible, and again you could avoid and go around, violate terms of service and all of those different things, but people were purchasing out of passion a lot too, and I don't think that will dissipate or has disappeared in any way, shape, or form. So it's going to be interesting to see how this industry kind of harnesses that as we move on into the future. But talking about the future, a beautiful analogy by Al on how this is a stairway to heaven with DeFi, and we have one step. We're about to start adding some steps to that stairway. Alpha growth, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I was doing some research earlier this week. I used your product last year, in the middle of last year, and to actually promote nothing other than this platform right here, the Ronin Radio. So I would like to pass the mic because I think I would probably butcher the explanation, whereas you guys, you're the builders. So Jose, I bring you back up here to talk about Alpha Growth, what it is, and what can Alpha Growth do with Ronin.
Absolutely. So Alpha Growth is a DeFi growth management firm. We specialize in growth and business development. Some of the big partners that we've worked with, we did the go-to-market for Near, brought on about 3 million wallets into the ecosystem. We did the launch for their EVM, Aurora. We brought about 3 dozen DeFi protocols, pumped the token from like 3 cents to $30, something crazy like that. Did the same thing for the Cosmos EVM called Kava. We ran the multi-million-dollar grants program, brought about 80 to 90 dApps, and grew Kava's TVL by about 150 to 200 million. And now we are running growth for Compound, all chains, all chain deployments, all asset listings, grants, partnerships, all the fun stuff goes through us. We do the same for the Uniswap DAO, cross-chain expansions, co-marketing, business development. Do a similar thing for Rocket Pool. And our only ecosystem client now, of course, is Ronin. So the way we see it,
so I'm gonna jump in right here because you
Go
just name dropped like crazy, bro. Yo, okay, we are in the fucking building. Okay, listen, if you've been in this industry and you know a little something, some of you are wonky as fuck, so you won't know anything. But like, listen, some of these name drops that are going down right here, and again, we can just talk about figures and stuff like that. We need help over here in Ronin. It's a true factor. We can ride with it, but volume must come. Volume must join this fleet, and some of the names that you were just dropping, then Jose, it's incredible. So applause to you. I don't have the soundboard right now, otherwise I would have been pressing buttons for real, but I just felt like a total urge to come in and just like congratulate you guys on the work that you've done prior to this, and how formidable some of those events have been in the industry, right? But I will let you continue. I will mute my mic, I promise. I will not join back until I am due. All right, I love you. Bye.
You're forgiven. So yeah, we see a huge opportunity in Ronin. Taking a step back, I got into crypto because of Axie Infinity. I was very, very new, and learning about staking, just opened my first wallet. Then I was hearing like from my nephews and nieces, Uncle, you gotta play this crypto game. It's called Axie Infinity. We're making like $200 a week. I was like, what? $200 a week? I'll take a look. And from that, got 7 of my friends to join in with me because Ronin was not existing at the time. We had to do everything on mainnet, and gas was like $200, something crazy like that. So I ran a small guild of like 7 players, and then my friends told their friends told their friends, and in a couple months, I was running a full-fledged gaming guild, play to earn guild of like 350 people. It was nuts. And my experience, as well as my gamers, was that it was our entry point into crypto and DeFi. So we were yield farming, playing Axie, and there was no Ronin, and there was nothing to do. Also on Ronin, when there were no DeFi games to play, so I would take my earnings and move over to something like Phantom, so I can participate in these like cool DeFi games, these Ponzinomics, protocols, getting in early, buying NFTs, losing money, having fun along the way. I would put my earnings then into like Terra Luna at the time for the stable yield. And I would always wish that I, I wish that like I could do all these things on Ronin. You know, it would be so much more convenient. And, you know, you get to own a part of the games we love through Axie, right? I think that's beauty in it. I still have to this day about 1,000 Axies in my cold wallets. Never lost money because I never sold. So yeah, we're trying to turn. I see Ronin as like Disney. Before Disneyland came along, and our job as Alpha Growth is to help Ronin and turn it from Disney to Disneyland. Have all the primitives that you would want. Um, so in Disneyland, you have like restaurants, you have water, you have internet, you even have a jail. There's no actual reason to leave Disneyland. You could actually just stay there. And that's how we see Ronin. And putting in the best blue chip dApps that we can find, best infrastructure partners, the best assets, and creating and supplementing these in-game economies is, yeah, I'm really bullish about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've heard similar conversations actually from Bear Snake, who is one of the leads at the Runiverse, the cult, the leader of the cult, Mr. Bear Snake. Big shout out to him. But yeah, blue chip, right? Like the IP is formidable when it comes to Axie Infinity. It's really, really interesting again to find another story in this industry that began with Axie. I'm sorry, Geos, you actually made one of the best statements that exists. Axie is the next Axie, bro. How many people began with Axie? We actually need, like, we need to document it because it is insane at this point. True builders, people of value, those that have survived largely have come, their inception at least was with Axie Infinity. And again, that just attests to how impactful this industry was, right? And the decisions you guys made, Geos.
I mean, yeah, Axie is the next Axie is more true than ever, right? Like the longer that the space goes on and you don't see like a huge breakout hit that shocked the world in a similar way to Axie, right? It's like, people Axie grew uninterrupted for about like almost 18 months last cycle, right? Whereas now, like if something doesn't collapse in 2 weeks, it's considered a victory, right? So I think that Axie's run of dominance is just crazy to think about in retrospect, and gets more impressive the longer those world records stand. And you talk to so many people who have been onboarded to this space through it, and I think it's set a really strong foundation for the run and chain. And basically, right, like when you talk to real builders, everyone who's a real builder respects what Axie did, and understands how Ronin played its part, and that's what attracted, right? That's what attracted the initial cohort. And then it's like, yeah, Pixels came on because they respected what we had done with Axie, and then boom, now people saw that okay, it worked for Pixels, right? So it just created this chain reaction of good steps, and yeah, that I I saw that as right, like Axie wouldn't have worked without the DeFi linkage, and the DeFi linkages would actually allowed us to create like a more of a powerful flywheel. Before that existed, it was like people could kind of earn by playing Axie, right? They would like play, they would breed, and they would sell, but it just wasn't as like concrete or like obvious of a loop. So
100%. Here's to hoping that DeFi here on Ronin is actually one of those catalysts for a lot of the game ecosystems that we have right now, because we do have more than ever. I remember times where even you said it, Jose, that like there was nothing really else to do other than playing Axie and then taking rewards and kind of fucking around and finding out in the industry. Whereas now we have a lot more solidarity. There's a lot more experiences to get involved in. There's a lot more IPs to go and explore and fall in love with. So DeFi at this phase with that type of a catalyst effect could be really, really interesting. I want to say this though, because my understanding from Alpha Growth, and I like to do the layman's term, like the ronkified version. I'm not going to do it in full ronky language, which I'm sure, welcome to Ronin, you'll eventually understand that this is partly the ronky network, and some people talk this way. But ultimately, with Alpha Growth, you guys have an independent database as such of different categories, right? Ecosystems for one, but investors as another, and also those builders who are out there pushing their own projects. But what that then means is you guys have a collection of people who are either very well versed, very experienced in this space, and do have liquidity to contribute, almost like stimulus access, right? You give exposure to ecosystems or builders projects to the people that have liquidity to kind of give them those catalyst events, right? That's ultimately, in a simplified term, what Alpha Growth displayed. That was one of the reasons I used your product last year. And of course, I see once Ronin builders, there's a lot of builders in this space. And, forgive me for saying this, it means it's in with no malice at all. But there is a ton of talented and amazing builders in Ronin. And there isn't so much of, I guess, to say the acumen, the business acumen on how to create large scale projects and scale that as well. And I'll put myself under that category also. But I think Alpha Growth is a great product in which could lead them down roads and pathways to meeting people who see their vision and can help support that become a reality. So really, really excited to have Alpha Growth here in this ecosystem, not only just for the sway and database of capital in which they can put things in front of those people's eyes, but also for the things that it can do for builders in this space as well. Jose, I'm going to push it back over to you here as we will talk about Liquid Ron right after this. But just to open up the conversation on compound growth, I see the patterns, growth here, but compound growth obviously is not alpha growth. Could we get a quick explanation on what compound growth is? And you guys are, of course, I would say, the marketing looks the same, the name is the same. I'm going to say you guys are running it also.
Yeah, so to give some clarity there, this is also a Grow Compound is an alpha growth initiative through the Compound Growth Program. So being able to service the Ronin ecosystem and make that Disneyland is why we are here and what we want to see happen. I threw up a CUSDC on Ronin as a forum post we made as a teaser to what is to come and all the amazing in-game experiences. But yes, I will go back to the main point here. Grow Compound is an alpha growth program initiative, a page, and this is where we handle all the incentives and campaigns and launches of new chains such as Ronin. So yeah, Jose, it's all you. But if you have any compound specific, DeFi specific on the lending side, let me know. I'll chime in.
Nice. Yes, lending. Oh yes, the good debt is good debt, ladies.
I'm one of the first users of Compound of all time.
Wow.
I think
Let's
I still have
go.
some deposited in there. Compound is actually the OG when it comes to basically kicking off DeFi Summer. Compound was basically the first large protocol to launch a token for their DeFi protocol, which basically kicked off DeFi Summer, which was like a huge event that actually this event created a lot of the original wealth for the Axie community, right? So it's like, how did the Axie whales, right, like make a lot of their money? And basically have enough capital so that it was able to multiply to large amounts during the 2021 cycle. Was actually a lot of it was via DeFi Summer. Compound was a key moment, and basically the Compound protocol works like this, right? You deposit a certain amount of collateral, right? So that's an ERC20 token, or it can be Ether, or it can be RON. And you're basically, depending on how much you deposit, you're also able to borrow a certain amount. Yeah, usually that loan is denominated in some sort of a stable asset or a stable coin. And yeah, there can be like basically rewards as well, right? So you can basically kind of get paid or incentivized to borrow capital, and that's when you get some really really interesting flywheel effects happening. So yeah, that's kind of my explanation or my experience with Compound. And apologies if that was I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, that's been my experience with Compound, and wanted to like kind of explain it from my POV and my experience.
Yeah, I think it's great. No, great to hear from your perspective as well, because there's always been this, and I want to say it's coined as benevolence in that effect, because there is incentive and there's profiteering from it. But there's ways to distribute capital in and amongst this ecosystem, that are opening up slowly and surely. We've seen it through, I mean, even meme coins on Tama, right? Like we've seen Coco Bear support projects and help with liquidity in the early phases of those tokens. But having more sophisticated avenues for that is very, very important. So to hear it from your side, Jihos, as well, is like you've actually participated in this and offered or actually deposited funds into Compound and had that then loaned out to whomever. But you may have subsequently enhanced someone's ability to go and make things happen. It is some good stuff. Shout out to you guys. Jose, I just want to pass the mic to you. If there's anything that we've missed on alpha growth or compound growth itself, then we can get those details across to our community and the audience here today.
We're good. I feel like I've talked about alpha growth way too much, so we can move on.
At this point, it's go ahead and check it the fuck out if you're interested. Welcome to Ronin, though, on behalf of the entire network. I don't know if I have the authority to do that, but guess what? I say I do right now. So welcome to Ronin. We are more than happy to have you guys here and joining the fleet to build with us. So I will definitely be revisiting my profile. And if you see the Ronin Radio out there, Jose, mate, I expect you now with some bias to put it in front of a lot of those investor profiles. So thanks very much in advance for that. Let's okay, we got a hand up by the 1-4 to the 3 to the 7. My guy, Demon, what a combo, bro. What you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I'd just chime in. As a gamer on Ronin, I came in here to play games essentially. Like back in 2021, it was just about Axie. Like I didn't even know anything about crypto. It was my first introduction to crypto was Axie, and I was here to play. So like over the past few years, I didn't really get involved with DeFi things. But one day I actually stumbled across Travis's video of V3 pools and like how it works and things like that. And then suddenly I started getting more interest in like checking it out and just like, fiddling around with it, seeing how it works. And I was just like mind blown. I was just amazed at like, okay, so, and this might just sound cute, because like you guys are probably doing all these different DeFi things these past years where me, just as a pure gamer, but might be a great example of like the people that everyone is trying to like get exposure to right now. Like it was just amazing to see like the potential, right? Because DeFi in a way is also gaming, because you're trying to min max your potential earnings, and I think that's where I found the most amount of fun and like why it was intriguing to me. So since then, which was like a couple months ago, I've gone down the rabbit hole and found like all the different kind of ways you can stake things, and like understanding charts and coins and why things do what they do, you know, where things move. And it's just been like, for me, it's been like, how did I not look into this years ago? But at the same time, like, I was just, you know, playing games, right? And I think with enough education and enough content, a lot of people on Ronin are truly gonna enjoy these kind of DeFi aspects, because in my opinion, it is gaming.
Yeah. The greatest game. Life is an MMORPG. Welcome to the server, Theban. Hey, unlocked the financial mode. You're a fucking legend. To be honest, I will say this, you know, as a good friend, a close friend, and someone I speak to regularly, and obviously we're in this right now, cooking together. But this man can learn something at a rate that is non-human. So it's kind of scary now that he's gone down that rabbit hole, because who knows what comes from it. But more and more products at your fingertips will be coming here on Ronin. Let's talk about one of those things that is coming. We do have Proof of Travis in the building. I do want to pass the mic to him, but we're going to talk about Liquid Run. Before we get there, I'm hearing Al was partying hard. It was a tweet from you, Travis. So I am going to let, Travis, open up that mic. What's good, bro? A pleasure to have you here. And this must be like Christmas for you, because DeFi content, that's your bag, bro. So welcome to the space. Hope you've been enjoying the conversation. What do you have for us for today, bro?
Yeah, no, it is Christmas. I think I was almost crying those what they call them, ugly tears, or ugly crying. But yeah, no, very excited. I've been listening to the space from the beginning. I just kind of wanted to chime in because unfortunately have some things to do in about 5 minutes. But first, I want to thank everybody for the shout outs. If you've been watching my videos, I'm definitely going to be making a lot more on all the different DeFi that comes in. And just for the Ronin ecosystem, of course, a lot of us have been here for a while. I do think as gamers, we're growing in Web3. I think a lot of people are familiar with Katana. They understand swapping. And I do think, and this is why I'm happy that Compound is in this conversation, I do think lending is kind of the next step up. I think we've figured out Katana, we've figured out swapping. Some of us have figured out LP pools, and then once you try your first lending or even borrowing, it kind of unlocks a different view on crypto, a different view of your bags. And I think that's the direction us regular gamers, even the Ronkies in here, are going to kind of try out and learn. So I'm very excited for that. I'm going to try to also help facilitate and understand what's going on. But it's cool to hear, and yeah, I'm super excited to see all the great things that are going to come to Ronin.
Round of applause for Travis, man. Like Travis is making amazing videos, bro. Are you using Loom to make those videos as well? Like that's kind of what I was using for
Professor
Professor Jihos. Professor Jihos is interested in trading notes on the on the video software, but Travis has got fire videos and tutorials. I also, of course, like if we have something that's complex and Professor Jihos is traveling, we're definitely hitting up Travis in DMs asking if he can make something. But it's much appreciated, man, and just wanted to publicly acknowledge. I know we've obviously talked a lot in private.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's important, man. It's important. Axie, Ronin, they're fucking ladders, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to you, Travis, bro. A huge component to our ecosystem and a great community member, bro. I hope you're having a great time right now. I don't know if you might be at GDC then if you saw our partying hard. But aside from that, it's funny now. We're saying the next, like, we understand swaps. You educate people at a mass scale to get that and grasp that concept. The next is lending. The next step up is lending. Lending is the meta. I promised I wouldn't talk about this, but I'm going to say it really brief, and then we're just going to move straight into Liquid Run. Lending is the meta, but when you switch that around, and then you realize that wasn't the meta, so we're going to keep moving. This is the next meta, ladies and gentlemen, Liquid Run. Now, I've been seeing the DeFi chat in the Ronin Discord talking about, what is Liquid Run? What is L Run? The man himself is here today to talk you through it. Again, just want to say thank you to Al for being dedicated and up early in the early hours of the morning to be here. But the simplest questions with maybe complex answers. But what is Liquid Run, Al?
Sit by the hearth. I'll tell you a story. So it starts in late 2024 last year. There was DEF CON that happened in Thailand, amazing energy, and then there's YPS in Manila. And after that, I decided, hey, why not just go to see Sky Mavis HQ in Vietnam? And during all of those little, moving around, I saw G-Host quite a bit, and I saw Alex quite a bit. And so we were talking about Ronin, DeFi, and a bunch of things. And they coined the idea, what it would be amazing if there was liquid Ron, just literally liquid Ron. So what's liquid Ron? It's basically you can stake your Ronin right now. You can get APRs. It's great. It works. You can secure the network. You feel great. But the issue is once you stake, your run is locked. You cannot use it. It's stuck. You don't have access to it. And this is really something that's been bothering me. And them telling me about, oh, there should be, is like, you know what? Let me just try it. And so what happened was, last few days before I go back to my little nest in Europe, I cooked up an MVP in the Sky Mavis HQ back in Vietnam. And in 24 hours, even less, like less than a day, I had Liquid Wrong MVP coming. And from early December to late January, this is where I was like perfecting the whole thing, talking a lot with the Ronin team, seeing what makes sense, what doesn't. And from that moment on, thank you so much, Ronin. And their grant program, they decided to sponsor my audit for a liquid run. So the audit that was led by Katerina, fantastic guys, was only able thanks to them. It was very costly, $48,000, and here we are. So what is liquid Ron? Very easy. For Ronke, for everyone, very easy. Deposit Ron, get liquid Ron, a representation of your staked Ronin in the Ronin protocol. So what's really cool about this is that it automates all the staking and the harvesting of the rewards. So what this enables is compounding, and compounding is super powerful. To give you numbers, I crunched a lot of numbers for you. The theoretical best APY you can get out of validators right now is 11.6% if you do things wisely. Right now, no one is at 11.6% because there's a bit of chaos. Everyone does what they want. There's a lot of meta, people coming in as new validators, things shifting, but you can get 11.6%. And wait, hold on, there's more. What if it's compounded? Well, you go to 12.3%. We've never seen APRs above 12%. Well, with liquid drawn, you can get over 12%. And this is what's really cool about this is like I can guarantee more, and then we can generate even more on top of that. And this is all automated. Everything, every day, rewards will be collected with the RON staked on the liquid RON protocol. Will be auto compounding the rewards and delegating in the best ways possible to get those rewards. And all, of course, for the users and the ecosystem. So that's just how Liquid One works. It's just one piece. It's a literal DeFi. This is Yearn Finance. This is all the inspiration of everything I've worked on. And what is really cool is, okay, what can I do with Liquid Drone? Well, this is where things become interesting. Liquid Drone just accumulates rewards over time. Your 10,000 RON that was stuck in the protocol is now unstuck. It's unlocked. Liquid Ron can potentially unlock 250 million of tokens, of Ronin tokens, and can be used in DeFi right now. This is what's so powerful about Liquid Ron. It enables all this liquidity. And we have our great partner Compound right here. What could happen, for example, is what if Liquid Ron was you could deposit it on Compound and borrow ETH or borrow USDC. You're leveraging your position to do something really cool about this. You want to stay long on Ron, but don't want to sell? Just lend it on Compound and borrow USDC while you do your stuff. And eventually, of course, always repay your position. Be like a Lannister, always repay your debt, because if you don't, nasty things can happen, and we don't want that. But that's kind of like one of there you go. Those are the steps being laid. Liquid Drawn is essentially maximizing what you can get out in the DeFi ecosystem, and Compound allows you to leverage this. And those are the things that eventually make the DeFi stairs of heaven. And that's kind of like where we are with Liquid Drawn. It's a DeFi empowering tool that can be used in other different areas of the DeFi ecosystem. Compound is just one of them. There could be more in the future. I don't know what's up, or maybe I do, but I don't want to spill the beans. But that's kind of like how I see Liquid Run going forward. I'd be happy to specify things that may have forgotten, or if people want more specificity on. But yeah, I don't want to be too lost in my own thoughts. It's bubbling right now, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
No,
so excited.
you tackled it. You tackled it, and I love the address of like the Ronki factor. Is it's pretty damn simple. You know, it's an actual reality. Even for myself, like Ron has been staked ever since we've had delegated proof of stake on the network, and it does have such a huge amount of supply that is stagnant, right? I mean, it's not stagnant because it does yield, but in terms of actually being able to impact the ecosystem of Ronin at large, it is not. It's incapacitated, right? And staking with Liquid Run and receiving a representation of your staked Ron in return allows you to participate still. It stimulates the economy of Ronin whilst also, you know, allowing that yield factor to continue. And of course, compound is a key word here. And for Ronki that don't understand compound, and I know a lot of you guys in this space, you really should understand what compound is. And if you don't, then there's your homework. Professor Gihos has submitted it for you to understand quite how powerful compounding is. If you ever looked at a compound curve, these things, it's real, all right, and it's a necessity for those people who are investors, who are long-term players. And you know, here in Ronin, it is long-term games with long-term people. But the ability that Elron is going to offer you is to still play those long-term games, but in the short term, where there is opportunity, where you seek arbitrage, where you see a project that you do want to be really involved in. Here is my example in the absolute immediate. Right now, we have Last Odyssey with their NFT mint that's going down. The ticket process is happening right now. 35 RON for a ticket. You could contribute 3,500 RON for 100 tickets, but you'd have to take 3,500 RON out of a staked position and buy those tickets, giving you a 4-day period where, one, the compound curve is broken because you're not continuing to compound at the percentile that you were, and then two, you'd have to, after winning or not winning, then restake that RON into whatever validator that you are staking. So that short period of a break in compounding, it adds up. It matters. With Liquid Ron, however, you would have staked there and have Elron as a representation, and then you could go to someone like Compound, leverage from themselves, pull money back out, and use Ron freely within the ecosystem, all while still appreciating that APR. So I want people to really understand how impactful this actually is. One, for solidarity, because you'll see the dedicated Ron and still the figures of staked funds will remain high, and there's a positive factor when people come in here, because again, it removes from things like sell pressure. But I think it's a wonderful idea, and also to hear the story, Al, on how quickly it was spun up. I remember meeting you right before you went over to the Sky Mavis HQ office. Randomly, we met on a beach in the Philippines. It's actually quite bizarre. He was like playing volleyball on the beach just in front of me, and I was like, wait, I swear I know. Hey, and we had a convo, but it was right after that. And you say 24 hours spinning up an MVP, gaining the support from Sky Mavis, and here we are today with Liquid Ron on the way. So commendable. You've always been an excellent participant in this space. If you know Al, his story, he's done many things in the past, and this is another one of those things that adds to the legacy that you're creating here. So I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you do put in, and yeah, with DeFi expansion on Ronin, this could be the core mechanism that plugs in to people's ability to participate in DeFi. But like a Lannister, and I love that, like a Lannister, you must always repay your debts. I wonder if any of the co-hosts, or even Jose here, Bailey as well, would like to participate at this point, what they see with the introduction of Elron, with the fluidity of liquidity on this network, and what that then could look like? I know, Stark, you've been someone who has leveraged lending before in the past. Like, is Elrond something that you are looking at to utilize?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm even in a more broader scale excited to see how what the Ronin ecosystem does with it. Like as Theban was saying, 1437, DeFi and all of that in a way is a form, you can look at it as a form of gaming, right? And on the Ronin Network, we have all the best gamers. So I'm excited to see how everybody min-maxes stuff, min-maxes outsiders, or not outsiders, but other people. And like in any game, people, they will climb the leaderboard, and all that activity will be good for the ecosystem. So I'm excited to be
Here's the
sitting
meta,
back
bro.
and watching all of that.
Here's the meta. Everybody stakes their Ron, everybody gets liquid Ron, and everybody swaps it, and everybody goes and buys Ronky with it. That's the meta, bro. Ronkify the fuck out of it. That's how we're doing it. Okay, I'm joking. Listen, no financial advice here on the Ronin Radio, just to double down on that, ladies and gentlemen. Jiho's had to drop off. Of course, the man is a busy guy. He has a meeting, so just want to say this, even though his presence is not here, but a huge thank you to Jiho's for making time and being here today. We're going to continue to strive forwards, man. That guy, every time he talks, I don't know what it is, but he gives me energy for real. Bailey, I'd like to bring you back into the convo here. We are around the times of rounding this conversation up ultimately, but I wonder what's your take on hearing these things? You would have heard of Liquid Ron before, of course, and what do you project for the introduction of Liquid Ron into the network on top of all the DeFi that we may see?
Yeah. So yeah, very exciting. Was with Owl while he was coding that stuff up. Very, very excited to see him at work. So we have about 215 million RON stuck in staking, right? So expect that amount to be quickly flow or moved into liquid RON, right? And this unleashes a lot of capital that's looking for yield, looking to be used with Compound. So these are the things that are coming very soon. I also like to kind of share a bit about that future, right? What DeFi and Ronin really looks like. Going back to the example with MMOs, right? Everyone's like part of the guild, and then in the past, guilds didn't have any sort of financial ability. They didn't have the rights to create assets within player-owned economies. So something that I think is the holy grail of DeFi is really under collateralized loans, right? So being able to borrow because of your credit score, being able to borrow because of your pixel reputation, these are the things that I think we will definitely work towards. And this really answers the question about capital efficiency, which is you want to always be able to get the most work out of every dollar you have, right? So the DeFi game is really about that. And I think at Ronin, you have a place where people are putting in work. Players are generating a lot of on-chain data. They're paying back their debts on Compound. These are the things actually contributing to that identity of yourselves. And then protocols can actually become the arbiters of your loan to value, right? So they can choose to kind of lend out to these guilds. These guilds can choose to borrow more, kind of participate in greater asset creation. And then this could be in, for example, like breeding more axes and then setting up more infrastructure in that particular game that you like. So these are all the potential use cases, right? That actually are fundamentally going to help some of these games grow, help some of these economies really balance out and become more sustainable. So I think that's actually the final goal here. So working very hard towards that.
Yeah, I love that. I actually really, really love that. It gave me an analogy on top of an analogy that we heard earlier in the space from Jose, how Ronin is like Disneyland, and adding that sophistication to these practices is going to be necessary. And in my mind, I was like, you wouldn't have Woody from Toy Story rolling around Disneyland with an actual loaded revolver, right? Things might go wrong. So like procedure and some layers of constraints or control definitely need to be added, because I don't see Ronin as the Wild West as other ecosystems may be perceived as. the sun in Spanish honor. Either way, I think, yeah, these are my mind is racing now. Unfortunately, we are towards the end of this space, although there is many topics that can stem from things that I've heard today. The place in which those conversations can take place is in the Ronin Network's official Discord, in the DeFi chat. Let's continue the conversation, and if you have visions and opportunities, ideas, there really is a breeding ground for that. And just from our story alone, you can hear that if you bring talent to the table, if you bring production to the table, there is people and there is entities in this space. And of course, you add into the factor now, hello, we have alpha growth. There is routes towards being facilitated, right? It may be you don't have the monetary power to make your idea a reality tomorrow, but tomorrow on Ronin, you will have the power to access some people that do. So shout out to Alpha Growth. Big shout out to Jose for being here as well, the Compound Growth account. Too excited and thoroughly I'm ready, bro. Ronin's gonna do it. I opened this whole space saying I just think everybody that's leaving right now thinks like XYZ is dead and it ain't, and want to cry and shit. I think they're all wrong, bro. Arguably, when the whole world is moving in one direction, and then you start seeing intellectual and very smart participants moving in another direction, normally that direction tends to pay off big time. But I will close out today's show by saying thank you to each and every one of you guys that have tuned in. Big shout out to the Ronin community. A huge shout out to our sponsors, of course, the greatest gaming blockchain on the planet that is soon to be just in all the greatest network on this planet. Ronin, they give us the ability to be here, and we are powered by them. So huge shout out to you guys. Also shout out to our other sponsor with the people of Moses. If you want to congregate with like-minded people in this space, those people that will be utilizing Elron, the people that will be forming coalitions to go and min-max within our gaming ecosystems, People of Moses is one of those alpha spaces to make that happen. So big shout out to those guys and thank you for the sponsorships. Again, want to say thank you to Bailey for being here, in the airport, in transit right now, making time to be here, and I'm really grateful that you were. And Owl, of course, lots going on right now, busy moving around, but he's still here turning up every single fucking day. That's the dedication of a Ronin, and that's what we love to see in this space. Thank you guys at Alpha Growth for being here. A pleasure to welcome you to this space, and I really look forward to the rest of the year and how things pan out. But yeah, man, this has been the Ronin Radio for you guys. We are back next week on Tuesday for another show, bringing you more information. If you have been missing out on any of our recent shows, we are compiling them all to have a YouTube series that gives you the full episode in post, I guess. You'll be able to tune back in on YouTube. I don't know why I was trying to say that in more a complex way, but you'll be able to tune back in on our YouTube channel. One thing we are adding to the schedule, ladies and gentlemen, every single Saturday, your boy and 1437 with the likelihood of Mr. Stark being free and not in a bar on a Saturday. I'm sorry, mate, that was a dig. I didn't need to. Anyway, we will be doing streams every single Saturday, playing, exploring the ecosystem, and you guys can get involved and help us choose what games you'd like us to play. Arguably, it's going to be an hour to 2 to maybe 3 hours of Theban taking a shit on my head at how stupid I am in a certain game. And then by the end of it, maybe I'll be good. But it's going to be our entertainment factor that we are adding in. So this begins on Saturday. If you're around, you want to chill on the weekends, we'll be there. Catch us on Twitch, X, and YouTube. Shout out to restream.io. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's space, learned a lot. The future is coming, ladies and gentlemen. We are hurtling towards it. Liquid Run is now here. Go get some. All right. I love you all. Have a great fucking weekend. Continue to play your silly little crypto games, because there will be a time, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a time when you can also say they were wrong. They were wrong. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We will catch you next week. Yeah, you can all fuck off now. I love you all. Goodbye.